Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into a pretty interesting proof of concept document dated April 19th, 2025.
Yeah, this one's for a project called ALSPAT.
Right, ALSTOT. And it's authored by Jeramie, last name redacted, described as an edge case AI theorist. Intriguing title.
Definitely.
So, if you're listening and you like getting the gist of complex ideas quickly, maybe seeing future tech trends, well, this should be right up your alley. Our mission today is basically to get under the hood of ALSPOT. What's the core concept? What could it mean for AI down the line?
Well, the name itself gives a big clue. Active Learning Self-Pathing Efficiency Over Time, ALSPOT.
Okay.
It's outlining this dynamic GPT architecture. The main idea really is that it learns not just what information, but how to best process that information. It gets smarter about its own operation.
So it optimizes itself over time, using feedback and analytics.
Exactly. Live feedback, scoring its own responses, tracking interactions. It's aiming for, better quality answers, more efficiency, and just being more adaptable overall.
The document had this analogy I liked. Think of an AI that's not just a library, but it's also learning how to be the best possible librarian for its own library. Finding the right book the fastest way.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. And it breaks down into key parts. You've got the router core.
The switchboard you mentioned.
Right. It figures out where to send the input, which local GPT model is best for the job.
And it connects to things like Llama or LM Studio, so running models on your own machine.
Exactly. That's the model bridge part. Then there's an evaluation layer.
Which scores the output. How does it do that? Logic or user feedback?
Both, potentially. It can use predefined logic or learn from user ratings, basically.
Okay, and that score feeds into the ML engine.
Correct, the machine learning engine. It trains on all this past usage data, what worked, what didn't, which routes were good. It predicts better paths for the future.
So it's learning from experience. And there's a memory log.
Yeah, simple Squilette database apparently, just logs the interactions.
And it all comes together in an adaptive feedback loop, using the scores to change routing, maybe even tweak the trumps it sends to the models.
Precisely. The goal is a system that improves itself. Less need for constant manual prompt engineering because it's sort of self-tuning.
And it aims to be lightweight, using ML just for those routing and prompt decisions, keeping it local. That touches on cost and privacy, too.
Definitely key goals mentioned.
Now, the memory part sounded pretty sophisticated. Tri-layered cognitive emulation.
Yeah, that's ambitious. It breaks down into 3 types. First, episodic memory.
Like a diary of interactions, time-stamped context, outcome, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Then procedural memory, the how-to stuff. Learned routines for routing, scoring patterns, preferred behaviors.
Okay, like muscle memory.
Sort of, yeah. And finally, semantic memory. That's more like generalized knowledge. It pulls from model outputs and all the feedback, facts and concepts.
Wow, so that layered approach could really allow for more context-aware responses, right?
That seems to be the idea, making it less reactive and more, understanding.
The document also mentions Stage 1 deliverables. What are they aiming for initially?
A functional prototype, basically. Command line interface, the Squilette logging working, some basic auto-routing, maybe just rules-based or random at first.
And a ready-to-train evaluation model, like using standard ML tools.
Yeah, mentions scikit-learn or XGBoost, plus the full source code for that stage.
And they're already thinking ahead, future expansions.
Oh, yeah. Things like a visual dashboard for training, using LLMs themselves to help tune prompts, maybe LoRa adapters.
Interesting. That's a technique for efficiently fine-tuning big models.
Right. Also mentions distributed backups, maybe caching models, reinforcement learning for the routing even, modular value system, ethical overlays.
Okay, that's deep. Clearly thinking long-term.
Definitely a broad vision. One other key point, the intellectual property.
Right. It's copyrighted by Jeramie, 2025. Not open source by default.
Correct. It seems intended for documentation, timestamping, maybe patent review. Permission granted just for that timestamping and internal checks.
Good to know. So let's try and summarize this deep dive, this ALSPO proof of concept. It's really painting a picture of an AI that doesn't just know things, but actively learns how to operate better.
Yeah, improving its own efficiency, the quality of what it produces, all through this quite clever feedback loop and a layered memory system.
And for our listeners, that aha moment might be this idea of an AI learning how to learn, adapting on its own. It's a real glimpse into where intelligent systems might be heading.
Absolutely. It's quite a conceptual leap from static models.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If we start building AI with this kind of self-optimizing architecture, what are the long-term implications? How might that change how we interact with AI, how much we rely on it in, all parts of our lives?
That's a big question, isn't it? Something to definitely keep thinking about.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.